So here we have the Corvette that we're building, the Pro Car. I'm going to give you a couple tips and tricks how we're wiring it, just show you kind of the process, a real quick snapshot of what we're doing. As you've seen probably pictures, we've got this string harness in here. So what I've done is this is just paracord. I've basically laid out where all of our devices are going to be. We've got our power steering pressure sensor, headlight, basically laid it how I want it to go in the car. And then after I've done this and I've mounted most of my devices where they're going to go, so I have pretty much exact lengths, I go over to my computer and I make a little spreadsheet where I lay all these lengths out. I'm going to show you on the table what I do with this and how I turn it into a real harness. So come on over here. Come on over here, Jack.
Oh, over there.
Over here. After I take the harness out of the car, I then put it into a little spreadsheet, and this basically gives me all my lengths, where I want a T-boot. I've also marked here R2, 3, 1, so that is where I've taken dimensions after I've made the harness. And then down here is where I know the size of the harness, so I know what to order for my boots. But this is basically my rear harness, my cabin harness, and the front harness. And this has all of my devices on it, all the sensors I'm going to use in all the modules. I've also identified where my CAN termination needs to be for each of my networks. So after I've drawn it on here, I turn it into this board, 4x8 sheet of plywood, just lay out a piece of craft paper, and then basically draw it out. I've written down all my main devices, I've identified where my CAN networks are going, and now I start laying my wires from basically device to device. It's easy to do it this way. I'm a very visual person, like to lay it all out. The reason I do it like this is it's very easy to plan all your splices, plan where every wire is going to go. You can route it through. So as you can see, this is a very busy T-junction. This is where one of my main boots is going to go. So when it's organized like this and I start wrapping this all up in Kapton tape, I can easily move wires around in here and then make this bundle really nice and neat. So when it goes in the car, it's as small and as organized as possible. I usually start by running all my network wires first, and then I run all my power wires, all my ground wires, and then I run my sensor wires. This is the way that all the ground wires, because they're all going to one spot, they'll all be run together. All the power wires from the PMU will be all run together. And the nice thing about this, it is running PMUs, so there's no fuses, relays. It's basically all controlled with logic, which makes it extremely powerful if we want to change anything. So as you'll see, I've got like a spare connector here. I have one of these in the front, in the cabin, in the rear. These spare connectors each have a 12-volt supply, a sensor supply, and a 5-volt reference supply. They go to each of the PMUs, so later on down the road, if I want to add any more devices, any more sensors, I don't have to rework this harness that I've done because it'll all be sleeved up in Raycom DR25 heat shrink tube, and you don't want to get back into it afterwards. So try to do it this way to plan as far ahead as I possibly can so that future-proof this for when we want to make any modifications later on. The reason I also do it like this is rather than just going ham-fisted and start laying wires in the car, the documentation, if we have a problem with this car, if the customer has a problem with this car down the road and they need to troubleshoot a circuit, if anybody's tried to fix a wiring harness that they didn't build or have no documentation for, it's extremely hard and time consuming. You can probably spend more time trying to chase wiring than it would be to just generate a simple document that then can be shared with the customer, and then we can identify any problems too. Also, because we're building multiple Corvette chassis, now this can be saved. I'll roll up the sheet, put it up on the shelf, and then the next time we build a Corvette, roll it back out and just do it all over again. So it makes it nice and easy. And really, we kind of build cars always the same way. They're always going to have a PMU, pretty much always one in the front, one in the back. So this sort of template can also be transferred to other chassis. You're mainly just changing some of the lengths. So a lot of this work is a lot up front, but in the end, it saves you a lot of the time the more and more you do this going forward. So here is the rear harness that I've already taped up. So after it comes off the table, I then tape it up like this. I then take it over to the car, verify that all the lengths that I've made are actually accurate. So after I've done this is the front chassis harness, I'll do the cabin chassis harness, do them all like this, make sure the lengths are all good. Once that's done, and I don't have to make any changes, like I actually had to change the ethanol content sensor in this one, so before it got all sheathed up, I then moved it. I changed it in my documentation. So this is kind of the trial harnesses for the Corvette chassis. Once I've finished all this documentation, the next harness will be probably twice as quick, if not 3 times as quick. But this is the next step after the table. As you can see, the bundles are much cleaner. Right now it does look a little messy. All my splices haven't been done. This hasn't been cleaned up, but it does clean up quite nicely. And then I measure it for the size of the shrink tube I need, and then wrap it all up and clean it up. If you want to know more about how to do this, mention in the comments that you'd like to see a full front-back how-to video from start to finish, and if that's something you guys be interested in. So hope this helps.